offering them. And so anyways, today's going to be a very short class. So I hope you enjoy. And again, if you have any questions throughout, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm watching the comments, and please let me know you're here, and would love for you to be a part of what we're doing. Okay, so hello Yuval, thanks for joining us. Hello Clementine, how are you? Thanks for joining us. So let's dive right in. So there's an old Jewish woman. On her 80th birthday, she decides to go, and she goes to the rabbi, and she met with the rabbi, and she tells the rabbi, I want to show you my last will and testament, what I want to happen to me. As the rabbi sees the will, he realizes that she writes she doesn't want to be buried in a Jewish cemetery. So the rabbi is kind of shocked, and the rabbi says, what's going on? Why don't you want to be buried in a Jewish cemetery? So you don't want to be buried with the rest of your people? You know, what's going on? She says, no, I decided I don't want to be buried in a Jewish cemetery. I want to be buried at Bloomingdale's. The rabbi looks at her and says, Bloomingdale's? Why would you want to be buried there? So she says, like this, I'm guaranteed that my daughters will come visit me every once in a while, you know? So there's this concept of visiting our departed loved ones, and you know, we pay our respects and we visit the graves of parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, whoever it is. And when we go visit a Jewish gravesite, you'll realize very quickly that many times on top of the tombstones, you will see people leave stones. So the question is that we're going to deal with today. The first question is, why is it that when you go to a Jewish cemetery, you'll see pebbles left on top of tombstones? So the earliest Jewish source that we have for this is from Rabbi Shalom of Neustadt. He lived from 1350 to 1413. And what he writes is, and I quote, our custom is to tear grass from the area near the grave, or to place a pebble. And the reason why we do it, he says, it is to bring honor to the deceased. And how does it bring honor to the deceased? It brings honor to the deceased because people realize that people come by and visit. When you go to a grave and you leave a stone there, that stone lets you know that somebody was there, that people come by and visit. And that brings honor to the departed, that people are loving towards this person, and people want to people come to see them. This shows love. So by leaving a pebble on the headstone, we indicate that we were there, and future visitors will note that the pebble we left there, and they will know people come visiting, and this shows people that the deceased is well remembered. The more pebbles on a headstone, the more honor, meaning the more visitors there are. So that's where kind of the custom of leaving a pebble on the headstone is that it reminds people, it shows people that people were there. Now, the custom also is, as we said, is that we do not leave flowers. And oftentimes, to find the reason of why we don't do something is sometimes harder than finding the reason of why we do something. So where does the concept of not leaving flowers come from? So in previous centuries, most traditional authors did not deal with why we don't do things. But in more recent times, people did start discussing it. And one idea that I've seen, and is interesting, is that why do we buy flowers? We buy flowers to beautify something. So then putting it by a grave or by a casket or things like that is to bring beauty. Now, when someone passes on, their primary existence is their soul, not their body. Their body isn't the main thing anymore. So when someone passes on, they cease to be a body, so to speak, and they take on their real definition, which is true even during our lifetime. We are much more than our bodies. We are our souls. That's a true identity. Our true identity is our soul. So when someone passes on, to put flowers is to bring attention and to try to bring beauty to an area where it's not really necessary anymore. Because the flowers is something that the body appreciates. The soul appreciates the spirituality, the holiness. So the flowers, if you will, represents in this situation a vanity, beautifying things in a vain way. And that's not something the soul cares about anymore. The body might have cared about that, but the soul doesn't care about that. What's important to the soul is, as we mentioned yesterday, the good deeds, the tzedakah, the making the world a better place, being there for its friends and families, and it's their children and grandchildren living a good life. Because ultimately, the reality is that when we look at somebody and we see they're behaving very well, we ask right away, who raised this person? And we see somebody acting negatively, the first thing we want to know is who raised this person. Living an honorable life is what brings true, living an honorable life is what brings true glory and true beauty to the deceased, and therefore we have a custom not to leave flowers, but to leave a stone, showing that we're focused on what lasts, what really matters, what will last for a long time, what will be there for eternity. And ultimately, the reminder is that the good deeds, the tzedakah we give in their merit, the Torah we learn in their merit, those are things that will last a lifetime and bring true honor to the deceased. So there you have it. Why we leave a pebble by a headstone and why we don't leave flowers. Just a short recap in short. By leaving a pebble on a headstone, we indicate that we were present at the gravesite and thereby bringing honor to the person by showing that many people love them and many people come visit. And one suggestion as to why the Jewish custom is not to leave flowers at the grave is that flowers are a form of beautification, and the only way to truly beautify the deceased is to do a mitzvah in their merit, because that's what really matters to them. That's what they really care about. That wraps up our class for today. Short, sweet, to the point. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something new about our. And tomorrow, our question that we're going to be discussing is why does Jewish law exempt women from certain ritual obligations that are obligatory for men? So why, when it comes to mitzvot, some mitzvot are not obligated, a woman is not obligated to do. For example, putting on tefillin, or other mitzvot that we'll talk about tomorrow. So there are certain mitzvot that are obligated by all people, some only by men, and women are exempt from. And the question is, why is that in Judaism there are different obligations for men and that women are exempt from some of those obligations? I hope you enjoyed. Yuval, thanks for joining us. We do this every single day, so please join us daily, 12:30. Sometimes they go a little bit longer, sometimes they go a little bit shorter. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining us. And everybody else that's a part of this. Brian, I see you're here. Thanks for joining us. And Clementine, as you mentioned before, thanks for joining us. And I hope you enjoyed and learned a little bit more. If you have any topics you'd like for us to discuss, we've discussed many already, let us know in the comments as well. As well as I want to bring your attention, as I started doing the other day, is that during the summer we have our annual summer raffle that brings in much needed funds to help support the work that we do here at UCF. Obviously, Rifki and I and the kids love doing things for students, teaching classes, doing Shabbat dinners. Even now during the pandemic, we've been doing Shabbat dinners to go with close to 50 kids each week getting a Shabbat dinner to go for their apartment, the 4-course Shabbat dinner. And it's made possible by caring people like you. So if you're up for it, please join our raffle. You can go to jewishucf.com/raffle and you can get some tickets and get a chance to win lots of great prizes like $10,000 and 2 tickets to Israel, amongst other great prizes. And you're an automatic winner by bringing the joys of Judaism to thousands of students on campus. And students, if you're watching this, please consider asking your parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts to join the raffle. Again, jewishucf.com/